heat. What is heat? Basically, it is a form of energy. You might have heard about it that heat is a form of energy. But what type of energy is it? From where does this energy come? So, if I ask you that does this board possesses heat energy? Does it have heat energy? Does this marker has heat energy? Or suppose that if you place an ice cube over your palm, obviously you feel cold. I ask you that has the ice cube heat energy in it? Does it possess heat energy, the ice cube? So the most general answer, the most of the people, they would answer that no sir, the ice cube, it has no heat energy, but it has also the heat energy. Why? I'll tell you. Suppose we are talking about this ice cube. The ice cube, it is made up of number of particles, number of molecules. And for anybody, it might be the ice cube, it might be this marker, this board, anything, anybody. All the bodies, they are formed by number of molecules. The number of molecules, they constitute the body. Suppose that we are talking about the ice cube. The ice cube, it is made up of number of molecules, number of particles. And if we talk about the ice cube that is placed over our hand, so according to us, with reference to our palm or with reference to our body, our own body, the ice cube, it is at rest. But the molecules of the ice cube, the molecules inside the ice cube, they are always performing motion, random motion. The molecules inside the ice cube or inside this body or inside this board, any body, the molecules, they perform random motion. So if they perform random motion, they must have kinetic energy. You know about kinetic energy. It is the energy that is possessed by any body that is in motion, that is moving. So if the molecules are randomly moving inside the body, inside this ice cube, then the molecules must possess kinetic energy. And you know about potential energy. From where does this potential energy, this term potential comes? Whenever there is change in shape or change in position of the bodies, then it possesses potential energy. So if the molecules, suppose that we are talking about these two molecules, they are in random motion, they are moving, and as you know, there is always force of attraction between the molecules. So they move from their positions, they move in random directions. What will be the condition here? As they are moving, so they will possess kinetic energy, and due to their motion, their position also changes. Suppose initially the position of this particle was here, and after some time this particle, it comes to this position. Similarly for this, initially the position of this particle was here, and after some time this particle, it moves and comes to this position. So obviously there is change in position of the molecules, and due to this change in position, the molecules will possess potential energy also. So what do we conclude? The molecules of any body, the molecules that are constituting any body, they will possess potential energy as well as kinetic energy. Now we can come back to our topic, that is about heat. We'll define it. What is heat? Heat is the internal energy of molecules constituting the body. Constituting means forming. So the internal energy of molecules. What is the internal energy here? I told you that these molecules, they possess both the energies, potential energy and kinetic energy, both. So if you think that what is this internal energy, it is nothing but this internal energy is the sum of what? Is the sum of average potential energy and the average kinetic energy of molecules. So what is the internal energy here? The internal energy of molecules, it is nothing but it is the sum of average potential energy. Average means overall potential energy. If we are talking about combinedly all the molecules of this body, of this ice cube, then the average potential energy and the average kinetic energy, the sum of these, the average potential energy and average kinetic energy, it gives us the internal energy of the molecules. Of which molecules? The molecules which form this body, which constitute this body. So, as I told you, does the ice cube possess heat energy? Yes. It also possesses kinetic energy and potential energy, and as a result, it has the internal energy, that is the heat energy. So, the heat energy, it will be contained, it will be possessed by any body. It is only possible that a body, it doesn't possess heat energy at all. When? If any body, suppose here we have a body that is at the absolute zero temperature. You must have heard about this term, that the absolute zero temperature. What is it? It is minus 273 degrees Celsius. And if we take this temperature in Kelvin, then it is 0 Kelvin. This is absolute zero temperature. Absolute zero temperature. And I'll tell you one more thing. There is no possible temperature below this range. Absolute zero temperature, it is the minimum temperature that can be attained, and it is also not that much easy to attain this temperature, that is absolute zero. So any temperature below this range, below absolute zero, is not possible. And if the body, suppose this body, it is at absolute zero temperature, that is 0 Kelvin or at minus 273 degrees Celsius. We'll get to know about this relation in this part only. So if the body is at absolute zero temperature, then the molecular motion, it ceases for any body. Suppose that this marker, we managed to attain the temperature of absolute zero for this marker. Then if this marker is at absolute zero temperature at minus 273 degrees Celsius, then the molecules inside the marker, inside the pen, they would stop. The motion would cease. It will cease at all. There will be no motion. And if there is no motion of the molecules, then there will be no kinetic energy. If there is no motion, then there will be no change in position of the molecules. As I told you, there will be no change in positions of the molecules, and that's why the potential energy will also be zero, because there is no change in position. So the overall internal energy of the body would be zero. It means that the internal energy, that is the heat energy of this body, would be zero. When the body is at absolute zero temperature. Other than this part, if the body is at minus 50 degrees Celsius, minus 100 degrees Celsius, minus 200 degrees Celsius, in all these conditions also, suppose we have a body here, it is at minus 200 degrees Celsius. Obviously this temperature is very low temperature, very less temperature, but at this temperature also the body contains heat energy, because at this temperature also the molecules of this body, they would be vibrating, they would performing random motions, and that's why still at this less temperature, this lower temperature also, the body possesses kinetic energy or potential energy. So it basically, the body which is at minus 200 degrees Celsius also, it also possesses energy. Up till where? Up till the body attains a temperature of absolute zero, that is minus 273 degrees Celsius. So further we move towards the next part, that is about the units of heat. What is the unit of heat? As you know, for any energy, any type of energy, heat energy, potential energy, kinetic energy, sound energy, for any energy, the SI unit for energy is joule. So the SI unit for energy is joule. And the CGS unit, it would be ERG. It has no abbreviation, ERG, that is erg. Now what is the relation between the SI unit and CGS unit of energy? It will be 1 joule is equals to 10 to the power 7 erg. Now at this grade, in class 9, you won't be asked to derive this relation, but in the video that is in our channel, that is about work, power and energy, in the class 10th section. So in that video, you will get to know about the derivation of this. If you are interested, you might watch that. So it was the relation about joule and erg. Apart from joule and erg, there is some other unit also that is preferred for the measurement of heat energy, that is calorie, and it is abbreviated as CAL. So if you use the prefixes such as mega, kilo, giga, nano, micro, so by adding those prefixes you can obtain larger or smaller units of heat also, such as, I'll give you an example. If I write here kilocalorie, 1 kilocalorie, as you know, whenever this prefix kilo is used, then it means that 10 to the power 3, such as 1 kilogram, it is equals to 1000 gram, that is 10 to the power 3 gram. So whenever you use this term, this prefix kilo, it means that 10 to the power 3. So 1 kilocalorie, it is equals to 10 to the power 3 calorie. Now, what is the relation between the calorie and the SI unit of energy, that is joule? It might be possible that you have to use this relation in your numericals, or you might be asked it directly. So 1 calorie is equals to 4.186 joule. This is the relation between calorie and joule, these two units. Or if this information, if it is given to you that 1 calorie is equals to 4.2 joule in your numerical part, then you will use that value only. If you are not provided with that information, then you will use 1 calorie is equals to 4.186 joule. So this was about heat energy. Let me tell you, when you touch an ice cube or any cold body, then you feel cold. Why so? Suppose that the ice cube is placed over your palm, then you feel cold. Why? Because in this case, the ice cube, it has less heat energy as compared to your body. Your body contains more heat energy, more internal energy, and that's why the heat energy, it flows from your body towards the ice cube. It means that you are losing heat energy from your body. So if you lose heat energy from your body, you will feel cold. The reverse condition, in the reverse condition, if you touch the hot water, the warm water, then in that case you will feel hot. Why so? Because as compared to your body, the warm water, the hot water, it contains more heat energy than your body, as compared to your body, and that is why the heat energy in this case, it flows from the warm water, the hot water, towards your body. The flow of direction of heat, it is reversed here. Here the hot water is warmer than your body, so the heat energy flows from the water to your body, and that is why you feel hot. So that was the very basic part about heat. Now we move to the next part, that is about temperature. What is temperature? We'll get to know about it. Now, as I told you in the last part, that the heat energy, it would flow from the body, hot body, to the cold body. Now, how do we know that a body is hot or a body is cold? Obviously, we should have some parameter, we should have some quantity that tells us that this body is hot and this body is cold. So that parameter is temperature. What is temperature? We'll get to know about it. Temperature is a parameter. It is the quantity that tells us about the thermal state of a body. Thermal state of the body means which body is hotter and which body is colder. So we can also, instead of writing this statement, that is, it tells us about the thermal state of the body, we can also write this statement, that is, the degree of hotness or coldness of a body. So you can write either of the statements, that is, you can either write that temperature is a parameter that tells us about the thermal state of the body, or you can write it as temperature is a parameter that tells us about the degree of hotness or coldness of a body. So that is temperature. Now, if you are told that this body is hot and this body is cold, then we got the idea that this body is hot. But how much hot? What is the amount of heat energy is contained in the body? How much hotter is that body? Or how much colder is that body? So this part, it is known by the temperature itself. Temperature tells us that how much heat energy is contained in a body, how much hotter is a body, or how much colder is a body. So temperature, it performs this part, it performs this work to tell us the degree of hotness or coldness of a body. Now, The units for temperature are, the first one is SI unit is Kelvin, that is denoted by capital K. If you give the symbol only, if you represent it with the symbol only, then you use capital K, and if you write the whole term, then you will be starting with the small k. So Kelvin, it is the SI unit for temperature. We will be talking about the Kelvin scale, the Celsius scale and the Fahrenheit scale. The other units for heat energy, for the temperature is, other units for measuring temperature are degree Celsius, degree Fahrenheit. So now we will be talking about the relation between Kelvin and degree Celsius. Suppose that you are asked to change, if you are provided with the information that the temperature is in degree Celsius. Suppose I give you an example. Suppose we have the temperature here, T here is the variable, it might be anything, degree Celsius. So this T here is, I'll mention it here, it is any integer or any value. T degree Celsius, it is the temperature in which scale? Degree Celsius scale. Now if you are asked to convert it to the Kelvin scale, then you will do nothing, you will just add the value, the integer 273 to this part, and hence you will get the temperature in Kelvin. Now I'll give you an example, very simple example. Suppose we are talking about the melting point of ice or freezing point of water, that is known to you, that is 0 degree Celsius. So this temperature is in degree Celsius, in Celsius scale. If you have to convert this degree Celsius to Kelvin, then what do? You just add 273 to it, and as a result, the temperature that you get here, it is 273 plus 0. 273 plus 0, that is 273 Kelvin. It's very simple. Now one more example. Suppose you are given the boiling point of water, that is 100 degrees Celsius, and you have to convert it to Kelvin scale. What do? You add 273 to it, and what do we get? 373. 273 plus 100, that is 373, and it comes in Kelvin. So it's very simple. One more thing, the difference between these two temperatures, 0 degree Celsius and 100 degree Celsius, is also 100. And if we talk about these two temperatures, they are same, but the scales are different. Let me tell you, this 0 degree Celsius or 273 Kelvin, both the temperatures are same. This 273 Kelvin, it is also the melting point of ice, or you can say freezing point of water, melting point of ice. This 273 Kelvin is also the melting point of ice, and this 0 degree Celsius, it is also the same temperature, it is also the melting point of ice. So these two temperatures are same, but what is the difference between them? They are measured at different scales. This is Kelvin scale, this is degree Celsius scale, this is Celsius scale. So both the temperatures are same. Or these two temperatures, 100 degrees Celsius or 373 Kelvin. Again, these two temperatures are also the same temperature, are equal. That is the boiling point of water. Boiling point of water. These two temperatures are also the same. But what is the difference? That why is the magnitude different? If I tell you that the two temperatures are same, they are the boiling point of water, then what is the difference? Why do have the magnitudes different over here? It is 100, it is 373. Why so? Because the scales are different. It is measured on the Celsius scale, it is measured on the Kelvin scale. So this is about temperature. What is the function here? What is the motive of temperature? It tells us about the direction of flow of it. Suppose one of the bodies, it is at 50 degrees Celsius, and you keep any body. Suppose here we have a body, you keep this body in contact with this body. This body A is kept in contact with body B. Suppose the body A, it is 50 degrees Celsius, at 50 degrees Celsius, and this body B, it is at 20 degrees Celsius. So you got the idea that which body is hotter and which body is colder. Obviously 50 degrees Celsius, the temperature of which body is more? is hotter one, is the hotter one, and the temperature of which body is less is the colder one. So this one is hotter, A is hotter, and B is colder. So as I told you that the heat energy flows from a body, hotter body to a colder body. Then this temperature, the body at higher temperature is the hot body, body at lower temperature is the cold body. And the body and the heat will flow from the body at higher temperature to the body at lower temperature. It means that from hot body to cold body. It's very simple. It was about temperature. Now let me tell you one more thing. If you have to convert Celsius scale degree Celsius to degree Fahrenheit, what do? Here we have a relation. I'll write it here. What is the relation for it? For changing degree Celsius to degree Fahrenheit, I'll write it over here. This is the relation between degree Celsius and degree Fahrenheit. This is a simple expression. This is a simple relation between them. If you have the idea of degree Celsius, 10 degrees Celsius, suppose that temperature is given to you, that the temperature in degree Celsius scale is 10 degrees Celsius, and you have to convert it in Fahrenheit. What do? You put the value of degree Celsius, 10 degrees Celsius here, and you have to find the value in Fahrenheit. So obviously one variable, one unknown, and the rest of the things are known to you. You can find it. If you are provided with the information, suppose it is given to you that the temperature is 10 degree Fahrenheit, then this part is known to you and you have to convert it to degree Celsius. You can do it of your own, very simple. So this was all about temperature. Now in the next part, we will discuss about thermal expansion.